Hi, welcome back. I am now working on part 3 of making the cover of my latest journal. And this is all part of the playlist linked down below. So you can certainly, if you haven't watched the first 2 videos, you'll see everything that I've done to get here. You'll hear about the inspiration for this journal, both method-wise and artistically. And this will be a brief segment because really what I came on to show you is what happened after I stopped recording part 2. So I've been working on this journal and I don't have a name for it yet. Hopefully by the time I'm finished, I will. But it's made from a hardcover book, Deconstructed, and then I've been creating this fabric middle part that's going to help provide more structure. So as a reminder, and it's linked in the description box, I learned this method by watching Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. I never want to forget to mention her. Her work has been very inspiring to me, and I've learned this from her. I want her to have the credit for it. So last segment, I had sandwiched this piece of packaging in between 2 pieces of fabric. And when I went to go glue the book boards on, I realized, oh no, I did not make it long enough this way. So I wasn't able to put both book boards on it and the spine. And as a result, I stopped the recording and said that I was going to troubleshoot and figure it out. And I did. And this is what I decided to do. I was a little on the fence about how it was going to look, but I feel like it's become a happy accident. So I did have some more of both of these fabrics left that I had torn away when I made the original pieces. And what I decided to do, instead of just trying to patchwork them matched to matched, I flipped them and I put the strip that matches the outside on this side and the strip that matches the other side here. And I feel like what it's done, I didn't plan it this way, but I feel like what it's done is it's tied all of the colors together. So there's a unity now between the 2 pieces of fabric, and now it is long enough. It's just the right size. I've made sure of it. So for the rest of this segment, what I'm going to do is get the book boards down. I'm going to glue them down. I'm going to attach so that I have the base of the journal done. And in the next segment, I'll start working on the signatures. So the last decision I had to make before doing all of this is which side. The fabrics are different. And what I determined is I was thinking about the inside of the cover is going to show more than the outside, because the outside is going to have the book board glued down to it. So you won't see a whole lot of the fabric. Whereas the inside, when the signatures are in, you're going to see a lot of this. And I prefer this fabric. This was the original fabric that I picked out in the very first video. I talked about how I thought I had enough to do both sides and I didn't. So I like the way the pinks and the peach and purple, how it all pulls in with all of the colors in the other artwork that I'm using. So I want to preserve more of this. So I've decided that this will be the inside and this will be the outside. So now I'm just going to go ahead and begin getting this glued on. And remember, I have this book spine as well. And I think first, I just want to make sure that when I fold it, that I have everything placed correctly. All right, so I'm going to use this PVA bookbinding glue. It says ideal for bookbinding and paper products. I learned to use this in fodder school when we were making books from scratch with Die Venter, and it's super effective, really sticky, and I think it will provide the strength that I need for this book. I'm going to get quite a bit of glue down on the cover, and then I'm going to use a paintbrush to make sure that I have it all spread evenly and cleanly. And I just brought over some cardstock to make sure that I protect my surface. I mentioned too that I was a little bit, I don't know, I guess sad, a teeny bit sad would be the word, that I am covering up the inside of this book because I thought it was such a neat book, and you probably can't see it anymore now that I'm gluing over it. But it was like a children's reader, like a school book. And I think most of you know I'm an educator, and I just thought that that was really neat. And the other thing that was really neat about it is it had the grade level inside, and it also had the price, which I got such a kick out of because the book, this hardcover book, was $1.18 when it was original. And I pulled out the book block, so unfortunately I can't tell you what year it is. I can go back before the next segment and try to look that up. And I just want to be careful that it's placed just so. I had also talked originally about sandwiching a piece of sari silk in between the fabric as closure, and I got so hung up on the size and what was happening that I totally forgot to do it. So now I will use some other kind of closure. I'll either tie the sari silk around, or I might sew it in on the edges. I'm not sure. I might go with a completely different closure. But right now, I just want to make sure that I'm really flattening this down and making sure it sticks. I really am pleased with the way these strips of fabric turned out. I was, as I said, quite skeptical, but I feel better about it now. I'm feeling good about it. But I'm actually going to do this. I think I need, this is what happens sometimes. I should have put both pieces down to make sure it was placed just where I wanted it. Okay, that's better. So I need to flatten this down again one more time. And this glue will stick very well. I was able to get it up just in time, I think, but it will still stick quite well. Okay, and I'm going to do this piece before I do the middle, because I really do want to make sure that when it folds correctly. So I'll repeat this same process here. Maybe you don't need this much glue. I think I might have overdone it a little, but that's okay. Better safe than sorry. I can always wipe some off before I stick it down. And there are some textured pieces here because this is an old book. And it seems like it might have even had, I don't know that I would call it water damage. It doesn't smell, and it's not musty or moldy or anything, but it probably saw some moisture in the form of spilled water or leaving a backpack on the playground with a little bit of rain or something. Who knows? But it doesn't have a negative smell at all, which is good. When sometimes with old books, sometimes they have really great smell, and sometimes, see, I didn't have too much glue. Sometimes they can smell really old and musty. So this one doesn't smell at all. I'm not worried about it, but the point I was making is it's pretty warped in some places. So I'm just making sure I have a lot of glue in those crevices so that they make it down onto the fabric. And when I was testing it, the thread line was a pretty good guide for where it was going to go. So move this for just a moment. I have a little bit of glue on my fingers, so I'm trying not to muck up the front cover. Press it down a little. I'm going to have to be careful when I flip it because this is a little bit delicate. I don't want to press down onto it and ruin my little birdhouse here that's not quite done. All right, and now we will do the spine. And this shouldn't need too much glue here. Again, just making sure I'm getting all the way to the edges. This will dry clear, so if a little gets over the edge, that's okay. And down she goes. Now you might be thinking, how in the world am I going to poke holes through there and sew the signatures in? And I'm going to tell you that if you've watched Barbara's video or you've seen this method done before, there will be no poking holes here. It's all going to get attached and assembled from the inside. Okay. Now I did realize I forgot to do one step. I don't think it'll be too big of a deal, but I really should have creased here and here before I glued the spine on, but it's okay. I think it'll be okay. Just want to make sure it's really on there. I'm going to put a teeny bit more glue in there. I'm a little concerned that the edge wasn't quite glued. There you go. I'm feeling so much better about this now. I got worried there for a little bit, and I think I mentioned in my very first video segment when I got this journal started, I was really kind of nervous about getting it started because this is a new method for me. And, you know, I'm doing it on camera and trying to make it work. And I really want it to come out nicely, and I think it is. So I am not going to fold it at this point. I want to let all of this glue dry really well. I will come back around in a little while. I'll step over here and I'll make sure that this is affixed and that everything is really secure. And then I will maybe go through here with a score on the other side once it's dry. Make sure I've got a nice place to crease, and then I'll fold it. And then our cover is done. And the next segment we'll be able to get started on the signatures. So I'm really excited. I hope you'll join me. Thanks for sticking around. I will get this all figured out. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you want to continue on this journey with me. And I will see you soon.